So welcome everybody. Let's just take a moment to just tune in to see how this body's feeling today. So a nice sigh out and just scan through the body. Notice what's going on for you today. Let's just take a little bit of movement for the upper back. So take a twist to the right. And then to the left. Back to center. Let's just let the head turn now. Relax the jaw. Notice as you turn the head, is there any tension that runs from the neck down through the shoulders? Relax the jaw completely. Notice any residual conversations that are resting on the jawline. Let the chin drop. Slowly rotate the head. We change directions. And let's just take a movement into the thoracic spine. So I'm going to use the Kundalini movement. So if you want to do it slowly instead. So bring the thumbs to the back of the shoulders. You're going to inhale to your left, exhale to your right. Start off slowly and build up the speed so the breath moves with the speed of the body. Like to center, draw a big circle with your elbows. Just a nice big sigh out. And release. So just closing the eyes, let's just bring our attention to the natural breath. Notice the texture of the breath as it moves into the nostrils. Notice it as it comes back out. Notice the change in temperature. Notice the subtle change in sound. We're just going to start by decoupling the nervous system. So let's bring our left hand to the heart space and our right hand towards the floor. If you're sitting on something high up, just imagine it's touching the earth. And imagine that your right fingers are like roots of the world tree, and they're growing all the way down through the bedrock of the earth, and they find a stream. And notice that deep within the earth is this heartbeat, slow and deep. And let that heartbeat travel up the arm and feel your own heartbeat slowing down to the sound of the mother, the great mother. And start to breathe in for a count of 4. And breathe out for 6 or more. Notice when the mind wanders. Just bring it back to the count. So you can start to feel your own heartbeat under the left hand. A slow, drum-like beat. So just allowing our nervous system to switch into relaxation mode by simply breathing out for longer than we breathe in. As you breathe out, just give your body permission to let go. Mentally say to your body, it's safe to let go. And surrender, feel yourself surrendering to the Great Mother. Now take the right hand and place it over the second chakra, so just above the pubic bone and below the belly button. So it's our second chakra that directly links into our kidneys and our adrenal glands and keeps us in that fight and flight mode. So feel that nice reset heartbeat pouring down. Imagine it pouring through the right arm to the second chakra. And just giving the second chakra permission to relax. It's safe. Perhaps you have memories of a younger self. So often our fight and flight system has been on since we were born in the modern world. So give it permission to rest, to switch off. Notice the younger self, maybe images of when you were younger and you didn't feel safe. And just telling that younger self that it's safe now. It's safe. It's being held by you, by your heart. And keep that extended exhale going. Now bring both hands to the heart space, keep the eyes closed. And be aware of the 8th chakra above the crown. So this is sometimes called the soul star. And we're going to open it over ourselves individually. And then we're going to open it over each other. So we all step out of time and space for this deeper practice. So as you inhale, bring the hands all the way up. And just take a moment to sense this energy. It's subtle. But once you start to tune into it like an invisible tuning knob on a radio, you start to feel it. And this is your soul, and it holds all the information of all of your lives. Just feel it above the head, do a little bit of a movement with your hands, and you'll start to feel a fizzing on the fingertips and the palms of the hands. And we're going to open it. So imagine this beautiful golden light coming all the way over you and allowing you, this is what the shamans called stepping out of time and space. And this is where the healing begins. Imagine it going down below the feet, below the earth, creating this big bubble of light, stepping you out of time and space. And then bring the hands to the heart space. Be aware of everybody here tonight. So when we step out of time and space and we're in the quantum field, there is no time and there is no space, there's no distance. So we're all very close to each other. I want you to imagine that you're going to pour that light over everybody else. So inhaling. This light in the shamanic tradition that I follow is called the Virakucha. Bring it all the way over everybody here. If you're pouring it over, there's about 17 of us here tonight. Lovely. Just rest in that extended bubble of light. And place your attention at the heart space. Both at the front and at the back. So our chakras extend out beyond the physical body like big whirlpools, and the tiny part of the whirlpool, like when you pull the plug on a bath, that little eddy that swirls down into the sinkhole is what comes into us. And we have chakras front and back of the body. So be aware of the heart space. And imagine this window like a circular window at the heart. And you're breathing in and out of this window. And notice that inside this window, there is a being of light. And this individual particle of infinity comes from the soul star. So your 8th chakra comes down through this beautiful line of light. And it just rests here for this earthly experience this time round. And we've all had many, many experiences on earth before. And as you connect to this beautiful diamond light that is indestructible, it's spoken about in many traditions. Notice that it's observing everything. It's observing the sound of my voice through the ears of the earth suit, the body vehicle, the meat suit, whatever you want to call it, the biological vehicle. It's observing the movement of breath in and out of the body. So we know that we have a body, but we're not just this body. We're this awareness that is able to observe the body independently. And this subtle observation is what yoga is, what spiritual practice is, to bring us back to our true nature. And notice that you can be aware of your emotions. Scan the body, notice the emotions that are present tonight in this space. And as you observe them, notice that you're not just the emotions, because you're able to observe them. And your true self is this eternal witness that can observe the human emotions. Also notice that you can observe the thoughts, perhaps the thoughts that are going on around the things that I'm saying, or that this body vehicle is saying. But notice there is an observer of all of these thoughts. And just say the words on the breath. I am loving awareness. And as you just continue that simple focus with the breath, see if you can reach out with your awareness, so using the third eye like a beacon, and notice everybody else, these little lights, all of us recognizing the same thing. I am loving awareness. See if you can feel into everybody else here tonight, this beautiful particle of infinity. And as you continue to recognize yourself, your true self, and everybody else, because that particle of infinity that is part of your 8th chakra has another line that travels even further up through the 8th chakra into what is called the 9th chakra, which is out of our luminous energy field, or the Dwadishanta. And there's only one of them for everybody and everything that exists. And we're all just part of that. But because we believe ourselves to be separate, and we other people and things, that's when we start to suffer. So just recognizing that light in yourself and in everybody else. And just notice how these words from the Radiance Sutras sit with this awareness. We all tremble and we all know fear. But turn to the one life pervading the universe, whose name dispels fear, and find that name resonating in your heart. Luminosity permeates the universe, and the secret sound that hums everything into existence resounds everywhere. Listening to the inner sound continually, become lovers with the secret one. And the next time the thought arises, I want this, I think that, grab hold of this I and perceive it by itself and wonder, who is this I? I am animal. I am human. I am a loving heart. I am a questing mind. I am a particle of infinity. I am a witness to creation. I am consciousness itself. And in meditation, embrace all of these dimensions. Reach into the source, the luminous world of dancing energies, in ever-changing relatedness. So everything is always in constant change. It's the one sure thing about life and the universe. But it's also all interconnected, like this dance of amazing particles of light. So really connecting into the heart space now and feeling that presence, observing this play. And also not just the universal play, but the play of planet Earth, which sometimes can feel rather like a Shakespearean tragedy or comedy. Just be the observer. Notice the body. Does it need to change positions? Is it uncomfortable? Does it want to lie down? Just allow it to do whatever it needs to do so that the awareness can be fully present at the heart space. And as you focus on this light at the heart space, imagine it like a diamond that's completely indestructible. It cannot be touched. It has always existed, and it will never cease to exist. This true self. And we're going to start to move into the transformational Tonglen practice now. So as you breathe in and out at the heart space, let's give the breath some texture. So as we breathe in, imagine you're pulling in a dark cloud of smoke that moves towards this diamond light. But as soon as it reaches it, it's just used like fuel and it creates more light. And as you exhale, you pour that light out into the world. Inhaling darkness, the denser energies that represent suffering, and exhaling light. And remember that we just use this imagery so that we can transmute energy and that nothing can actually touch you, your heart space, as we've stepped out of time and space into our protective bubble, collectively in our individual bubbles of light. And just keep breathing this dark in, light out, and be aware. I like to imagine sometimes that this darkness is more like wood that you place onto the fire. And if you think about a tree, when it's been felled to make firewood, that tree has grown, sometimes for a very long time. And in that process of growing, it's absorbed sunlight into its wood. And when you place it onto the fire, it releases the light. And this is what we're doing. We're releasing light, through the alchemy of the heart space, which is unconditional love. So let's start with ourselves. It's always a good place to start. We cannot pour from an empty cup. So let's fill ours up before we work with other people. So as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that you're gathering in all this heavier, denser energy that's in your luminous energy field. And you're going to breathe it directly into your heart space. Pull it all in and transmute it into light on the exhalation. Imagine filling your entire body with light, every single cell, the space between every single cell, every thought, every emotion, just fill them with light. Notice any heaviness in the physical body, any tension. Notice behind that there is emotion, and behind that are thoughts, maybe stories from this lifetime and stories from previous lifetimes that come with us that need to be healed. And just feeling yourself gathering in all of this, these aspects of you that need to be healed, that create density in the physical body. And when we have density in the physical body, it's because it started originally in the luminous body. So our luminous body doesn't hold on to joy, because that's when we're in our flow state. And we've all experienced our flow states. That amazing song that you just want to dance to, or walking out in nature. It's just beautiful, blissful flow state. So our luminous energy fields hold energies that are a little bit heavier, emotions that have triggered us. And if we don't clear those energies, they slowly become heavier and they get funneled into the organs of the body through the chakras. And eventually we get disease rather than ease. So really work with this image of clearing your own field, bringing it directly into the heart space and offering it to unconditional love for yourself. Forgiveness, gratitude. And as you continue to work for yourself, start to feel a sense of more spaciousness in the luminous energy field, more space in your emotions and your thoughts, and more space in the physical body. Notice the stories that hold weight in your luminous energy field and offer them into the light to be transmuted. Letting go of the stories so they no longer live in you. And you can become the storyteller rather than the story itself. Notice the stories that might be arising that maybe feel unfamiliar and yet familiar at the same time. Maybe there's stories that are much older stories that come from a time when you were much younger, or maybe a time before you were in this particular form. Just noticing the rivers of stories that keep playing out until we see them and we can change them. And let's do 3 really well focused breaths now in all dimensions of the senses and the imagination, really clearing out this sense of personal suffering through the stories that keep playing out within us. Lovely. Now we're going to move on to a loved one. So somebody who you find it really, really easy to be around, to hang out with, where there isn't really any friction, there's no triggering. So the loved one could be somebody you're in a relationship with, friend, family member, could even be a pet. Doesn't really matter. It can also be someone who's no longer on the planet. You're just going to work with whoever comes to mind. And you might find to start with that you have a few people that pop into your awareness. And then each time someone comes in, I want you to pull them down into the heart space. So you're not analyzing in the mind area, but you're feeling in the heart. And just settle on a person. So if you're quite new to this practice, just choose one person. If you've been doing this practice with me for a while, then you may find that you can hold more than one person. If there's 2 coming in, maybe 3. Just feeling yourself with this person or people, being near to them. And noticing how their suffering shows on their body. So it might be really obvious in the body. It may be more in the face, maybe more in emotional suffering. Although we can't separate the body from the emotions and the thoughts. It's all interconnected. So notice, take a look at their eyes. Is there sadness in their eyes? Is there worry? And just notice their suffering in all its forms, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And imagine that you're with them and perhaps you're holding their hand. And you can see this suffering starting to flow out of them to form a cloud between them and you. And when you feel ready, breathe it in. Draw it into this light. Feel the light expanding even more as you add more fuel to the fire and you release the light. Breathe it out. And as you exhale, send them a genuine wish for them to be well, to be free from their suffering. And as you breathe in, notice how the heart space is getting more and more expansive as you add more and more fuel into the light. As we transform this heavier energy that causes suffering for all of us. And as you continue to work with the loved one, notice the subtle transformation of the body, the face, the demeanor. Just notice the change. As a little bit more lightness comes into their presence, into their being. And let's concentrate on 3 more really well-focused breaths for this loved one that you find really easy to be around. Lovely. Now we're going to move on to what I find over the years since I've been practicing this, about 20 years. This is the most potent, powerful, and sometimes the most difficult part of the practice. So I want you to work with somebody you find it really difficult to be with. And again, that could be a loved one, could be somebody you're in a relationship with. It could be a boss, could be a friend, work colleague. Just bring them to mind. And remember that light at the heart space. That is indestructible, and it resides in each and every one of us. Even the people that trigger us are part of us. The people that perhaps have inflicted things upon us that have traumatized us. And that doesn't mean to say that they don't need to work on that behavior. They do. But that behavior is a product of suffering. So imagine them in front of you. Notice the behavior, that behavior that you find challenging to be around. And it might be that this leads to a sense of forgiveness and you choose to walk away from that relationship. Or maybe that you can see it as suffering and that you can offer help in many different ways. So when you're ready, notice that behavior. Maybe they shout or various other behaviors that can inflict pain and discomfort on us physically and emotionally and mentally. And notice it as a product of that person's suffering. It's how they're expressing it. And when you feel ready, breathing in that denser, heavier energy to the light, and let it be transmuted, and notice how big the heart space becomes when you work with this type of energy, when you recognize it as suffering. And this type of suffering is challenging for everybody. Generations of suffering that's passed down. It needs to be transmuted so that we can change as a species. and move towards what is called the Homo luminous, beings of light. And notice as you continue to work with this person that you find challenging, that there is a subtle change in your own body, because you're no longer the victim, you've become the observer, stepping back from the drama. And have a genuine, heartfelt wish for that person to be well. Maybe they need to find help to ease their suffering. Maybe you can imagine the next time you're near them and they trigger you, that rather than having a reactive dialogue, maybe it's something that goes like, "Are you okay? Would you like a cup of tea? You seem a little bit stressed." Or maybe, in this particular case, it's a choice for you to recognize that that person's suffering is something they need to deal with. It's not your responsibility. You're just going to step away from it, because we always have choices. Let's do a few more breaths here. Notice how you feel about that dialogue that I've just given you. And see yourself interacting but not reacting, remaining calm in your own power. And when we remain calm and in our own power, we don't inflict more suffering, because when we react, that's exactly what we do. So see a more intelligent outcome. And one that is more loving for you and for that person. The last couple of breaths. Lovely. Now we're going to move on to a familiar stranger. And we all know these people. We don't necessarily know the names, but we all have people that we recognize in the street. Maybe they walk past with a dog each day and we know the dog's name, but we don't know them. Maybe it's somebody that we see on our commute whilst we're waiting at the bus stop or waiting for a tube. Just somebody who feels familiar. Maybe it's somebody who serves you at the local shop. And just take a moment to recognize that particle of infinity within them. They too are a soul experiencing life on planet Earth. And it can be challenging. But we asked for the challenges. So see this familiar stranger and notice how the suffering plays out in their form, in their physical body, maybe their gestures, maybe frown lines. Maybe it's the way their mouth is. Do they have a mouth that's turned down because they don't smile a lot? Just notice, what are their eyes like? What's hidden behind the eyes? And just take a moment to allow that suffering to pour out of their body and breathe it in to that beautiful light at the heart space. Notice that the heart space is not a tiny little light anymore. It's expanded beyond the physical body now because you're adding all of this fuel to it. And it's happy, but it can be of service to humanity. And as you exhale, imagine saying to that person, I wish you free of suffering and joy. So we can use Tonglen instantaneously in public. If you sat on a tube or something and you see all the people just kind of rocking in their individual spaces, listening to music, staring at the phones, we can do Tonglen there and then. And it helps us to navigate our life on planet Earth, knowing that everybody else is trying to do that too. And when you become more awake to the process that we're in as a hybrid species, so a species that is both a being of light and inhabiting a human vehicle, when we recognize that in everybody and we can help other people recognize that, then we really will be able to live on a planet that is peaceful. And we have to dream this world into being. So dream away. A few more breaths with this familiar stranger. Maybe it's just you catch their eye and you smile. When did that stop happening on planet Earth? Smiling at a stranger. It's actually quite normal. Lovely, last breath. Lovely. Now let's start to work with ourselves. Imagine us all sitting in this huge circle and that our light from our heart space has expanded out so far that it now touches everybody else's light. And then we've now created this big, almost like a disc of light. Just feel yourself connected to everybody. Visualize it, use your imagination. And just imagine that all of us, we all tremble, we all know fear. Feel into that suffering. And breathe it in. Transmute it into light and feel our collective light expanding, getting bigger. And then push your awareness out to your neighbours. Maybe they're above, below you, either side. Maybe you live in a very small community, a hamlet. Maybe you're in a city. Push your awareness out. Maybe you can hear people walking outside the house. Push it out to them. So this huge ball of light is encompassing everybody. Push it out further. Encompass the whole city, town, village, hamlet. Keep pushing it out until you encompass the country and eventually the entire globe. And imagine that we're all holding this space, this light, all around ourselves, the planet, all beings. All beings. And the mother great mother of all of us, Mother Earth. The stone and the crystal people, the plant, the mycelium, the mushroom people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlies, the winged, the finned, the furred, all our relations. Hold all people, all beings in your heart. The planet itself, the waters, the air. And let it dissolve into this light of loving awareness. And dream a new world into being. If we do this collectively, we can make change. A world that is free of suffering, free of war, free of pollution, where animals roam free, new forests are planted. A world where we don't use chemicals so that we get more insects and then we get more birds. A world where there is more harmony, where we live in balance with the earth. And just keep breathing in any suffering that you see. Transmute it into light, send it out. Let's just do a few more breaths, really filling the world with this light so that we can shift a gear into the new frequency, which is fifth dimension. And this is where we're all heading to. A much higher vibrational frequency. And then start to be aware of this collective light all around you and pull it inwards. Notice that your entire body and bodies and minds, your four bodies and your three minds, are completely saturated with this beautiful light, which is the light of awareness. Condense it right down into the particle of infinity that resides at the heart space. Trace your awareness from the particle of infinity up through that golden thread to the 8th chakra, where the soul resides, and then trace it all the way up into the 9th. That singular chakra where we all reside, where there is no difference, there is no separateness, there is no other. You've just simply forgotten that we're all part of a greater whole. Bring your hands back to the light of the heart space. Extend the arms out as if you're going to gather up this energy that we put over everybody. Pull it up, inhaling. Pop it back into the 8th chakra and come down. Give a little bit of light to each of your own chakras, all the way down, all the way down. Offer a little bit to Mother Earth too. She deserves it after all. And then fold up your own field, your viriculture. And again, once more, feed it down into your own energy body. share a little bit with Mother Earth and thank her for her blessings, her body, her water, her breath. And namaste. Thank you for joining me.